This is the Seiko SKX001, and it is a watch that has been overlooked because of the ridiculous popularity of its siblings, the Seiko SKX007 and the SKX009. This is not to be confused with the SSK001, which Seiko released recently with a GMT movement. They sound almost the same, so it might cause confusion to some. As always, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button so you don't miss watch reviews like this one. Thank you. From the name itself, the Seiko SKX001 is a watch that was released together with several other models in the year 1996. There were a couple more variants, namely the SKX005 with a blue dial and the SKX006 with a white dial with gold accents. There's also an SKX003 but was similar to the SKX001, only that it came on a rubber strap instead of a bracelet. Seiko does this, and yes, it is confusing at times. Why this watch was skipped over was because a few SKX numbers above, the SKX007 and 009, took the spotlight. When you hear the word Seiko SKX, these two watches come into mind instantly. I do think some of these lesser known SKX watches deserve a spotlight too. They're still capable watches and some have great designs. In future videos, I'll continue to showcase SKX watches as much as I can because they are slowly getting harder to find. This SKX right here is similar to the SKX013, also known as the smaller version of the SKX007. I made a video about it, I'll put a link up here. The case is identical in terms of shape and size. This is a 38mm watch with a 12.6mm thickness. The lug-to-lug is at 43.8. It has a 20mm lug width. The only difference it has with the SKX013 is the bezel and the dial and the bracelet it comes with. The hands look similar, I think. The bezel is a steel embossed bezel with black text. As you can see, the black text is fading and it is actually an easy fix. If you're not too concerned about it being as original as the factory, I just use a marker and rub it throughout the bezel, and I wipe it using a tissue with alcohol. It's a quick fix, but so far it works for me. The dial reminds me of the Seiko Monster Gen 2, or maybe that Gen 2 was based on this one. Who knows? It is sharp and crisp, almost looking like a shark's teeth facing inward. The lume on this one is still phenomenal. It still lasts long, and even the lume pip on the bezel is still bright. The bezel clicks smoothly. Might be too smooth actually, since little force can turn it easily. There we go. I also like the bracelet on this one. It feels more comfortable on the wrist as compared to the SKX013 Jubilee bracelet. I also like the design. However, it is still the same old loud and clunky bracelet that Seiko used to make. The movement is the ever reliable 7S26 movement with 41 hours of power reserve. No hacking and no manual wind. A quick recap. 7S26 replaced the 7002 movement, which was produced from 1988 to 1996. The 4R36 is what succeeded the 7S26, which is used today on a lot of entry-level Seiko watches, which have hacking and winding mechanisms. I think besides the overpopularity of the bigger siblings, the SKX001 was overlooked because it was a smaller dive watch at 38mm. During those times, dive watches were at 41mm and above. Even the Seiko 7002-700 watches were at 41mm. That's just how the trend was before. And now, the trends are moving towards smaller and slimmer dive watches. I bet if this was released today, it would be a hit. Same with the SKX013. But Seiko is still holding that card for a few more years maybe. The design might also be the reason why it was not as famous. People started liking the aluminum insert more and it was modifiable. This one is just not. The black text even fades over time, so you don't get that ghosted bezel look that people are actually doing intentionally to make the watch look cool. Which frankly, it is. I'm not sure if this watch is easily available online, but all I can say is that I wouldn't buy it unless I'm collecting SKX watches. It is a watch that has had its time and it is time to move on. Anyway, I'm not trying to sell you all the watches that I review. I just share my thoughts about it, and if it so happens you're looking for them, then I hope this video helped. Talking about watches and reviewing them, especially the ones that were released way before social media and the internet, I believe they deserve to have a review of their own. That's my philosophy on this channel. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you soon. Stay safe.